In this video, we're going to be talking about distribution. Our goal with this is to be able to simplify expressions using the distributive property. So if you look at the example, by the end of this video, we'll be able to simplify 10 minus 2 times the quantity x plus 3 into negative 2x plus 4. Okay, so first let's just remind ourselves why we even use the distributive property and take a look at how it works with just numbers before we jump into variables. I have the same thing written twice here, 4 times the quantity 2 plus 1. So first we are going to do this with order of operations, starting with the parentheses, and then we're going to do this using the distributive property. So here we're going to use PEMDAS. On the right, we're going to use distribution. Okay, so with PEMDAS, I'm going to start with operations inside groups. So 2 plus 1 is 3, and then do our multiplication. 4 times 3 is 12. So I've done enough math that I know that this is correct. And if I distribute, I should get the same thing if the distributive property really works. So let's check it out. If I do 4 times 2, and I distribute the 4 also to the 1, so I'm going to add to that 4 times 1. Let's see, 4 times 2 is 8. Still using the order of operations, just distributing first. So 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 1 is 4, and then 8 plus 4 is 12. Turns out it works just as well. The reason we do it, though, is because when we want to simplify expressions with variables, we can't just use the order of operations. Like if I give you, let's say, 5 times x minus 1 and 5 times x minus 1 again. If I told you just use PEMDAS and I didn't tell you at all about the distributive property, right, we wouldn't be able to do anything. We're stuck here, right? Stuck. However, if we use the distributive property, with PEMDAS, right, PEMDAS always applies, but if we also use the distributive property, now I can do a little bit with it. I can multiply 5 times x and then minus 5 times 1. So this becomes 5x minus 5. Okay, one more step of why we do this, because we didn't really eliminate that much. Like, it doesn't become a lot more clear, 5x minus 5 compared to 5 times x minus 1. So let's take a look at another example, something with a few more steps. So I'm going to have you simplify. 6 times 2x minus 3 plus 7x. If you knew nothing about the distributive property, we're stuck here. But since we can distribute, I'm going to do 6 times 2x and 6 times negative 3. So I'm starting off with my distributive property. 6 times 2x minus 6 times 3. I'm going to tack on this plus 7x. And now I am still using PEMDAS, so I'm going to evaluate this multiplication before addition and subtraction. So 6 times 2x becomes 12x. 6 times 3 is 18. And we're still bringing down that 7x. Next up, I have to combine my like terms. 12x and positive 7x are like terms, so this becomes 19x minus 18. Let's do one last example. Let's have that example be with some negatives. So 7 minus 4 times x minus 2. Okay, in this case, when we distribute, we're going to be multiplying a negative times a negative, or really where we see that subtraction and subtraction. So 7 minus, and I'm going to start by distributing, to break down those parentheses, break down the grouping. So for x, and then now I'm going to keep this subtraction sign here, right? That's still minus, but I'm going to do minus negative 4 times 2. And if you've learned another shortcut, go ahead and use that. That is absolutely fine. This is just one way I make sure I do not miss the negative and negative. All right, next up, 7 minus 4x minus negative 8. And now I see that I'm subtracting a negative number, which is the same thing as adding a positive. So 7 minus 4x plus 8. Combining our like terms, we have 15 minus 4x. And let's get in the habit of writing the variable first. So negative 4x plus 15 is the same thing.